Now I'm going to show you a real pitch meeting that I'm about to have with a real seller. And he actually agreed to let us come in to his penthouse apartment and film the whole thing so you can see how I actually sit with the seller and pitch my services as the greatest salesperson in New York City. So come on, we're going to go upstairs. Thanks for doing this with me. I know this is weird with all the cameras and everything.
A little unusual.
Yes, but I appreciate it. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to come and meet with you to talk about your home and potentially listing it.
Well, I appreciate the book that you delivered yesterday.
Yes, you got it.
It's been nice coffee table reading. And
did you think it was a gift when I sent it in the box?
It looked like a gift, but this was a nice surprise. It's got some really good information here, so thank you.
Awesome. So I guess what I would ask you first, because the apartment is beautiful, I can tell from here, is why you're looking to move.
Well, you've seen the space.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but it's over 4,500 square feet. It's
right.
Too big.
Okay.
I've got a 10,000 square foot house out in Connecticut. Spend most of my time there. When I come into New York, I want a little sanctuary. This is not a sanctuary. Yeah. This is
a compound.
A compound. Yeah. So I need to downsize.
Okay.
I want to get top dollar for this because there's really nothing like this. That's why I'm interviewing you and a couple other brokers, kind of figuring out where everyone kind of falls in line and where we can get the most bang for our buck, basically.
How many bedrooms and bathrooms?
We have 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. I don't know if you've noticed, 4 outdoor, private outdoor spots.
One here and one over there.
Roof deck has a hot tub. It's unbelievable. You go out there at sunset, bring a bottle of wine, a couple of friends, and you won't want to leave.
Got it.
So,
You're selling me. I like it.
Hey, I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah.
So location's great. The finishes are top of the line. What can you do for me?
Well, kind of before we get into what we can do, what's your timeline? Because that's going to make a big difference for me too, because selling is partly seasonal. Sometimes it's not. But when you have a lot of outdoor space, which it seems like you really like and was a big reason for you having this apartment, it makes a big difference. Because if I'm bringing clients in when it's cold and snowy, they're not going to love being outside in your hot tub with a glass of wine, but if I'm bringing them out when the flowers are in bloom and they can smell the birds in the air, it's going to make a big difference.
Well, that's why I have the heat lamps. So it's year-round, you know? But I don't know. I want to sell it for the best price possible.
Okay.
I don't care if it takes 2 weeks or if it takes 2 years.
Gotcha.
I can carry it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for us, right, there's a lot of different ways that we sell. And every property, we come at it not like the machine, but really with a custom understanding of what we're going to do to get the specific home sold. So when I look at this space, I see beautiful ceilings, I see gorgeous finishes, I see the building is architecturally significant, it's an amazing location, you do have great outdoor space, so that's something that would really, really, really play up. But it's important for you to know that no matter how beautiful the home is, there are a significant amount of real estate agents out there, right? And you want to hire one who can then put all of them to work. I think there's something like 80,000 real estate agents in New York. Your job is to hire one person who has the most exposure and is going to do the most work and is going to really, really, really work hard to put all of those to work for me and for you to get this home sold at the best possible price, no matter what timing is or no matter what the market's going to do, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but you should know too, and if you've looked through my book, everything is in there with regards to how we sell, what we do, everything that we go through, too, that the market is a little bit funky, right? It is a little bit of a tough market. Things are sitting on the market for much longer than they used to. The average days on market for something over $10 million is at least a year. So I know you said you're not in a rush, but...
I'm not pressed for time, but I want to unload this. That's why we're talking.
Right.
And that's why I'm talking to 3 or 4 other people after you.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, what's to say, why shouldn't I hire you and someone else and kind of see if both of you can kind of race to the finish, bring me the best price, and whoever does wins?
Yeah.
I mean,
like the Hunger Games of real estate.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so it incentivizes you and someone else to work harder than you normally would.
Sure. So I'm incentivized no matter what because we would have a listing agreement and there's a commission attached to that. And if I sell the home, we can make money, and if I don't sell the home, there's no money there. It's very, very difficult when you do co-listings that way because you basically take 2 sides and you put them into an uncomfortable situation where then you, like I kind of said, like make it about the Hunger Games, and so then they're kind of disincentivized to work for you, and they're more incentivized just to protect themselves. And what you want is you want a real estate agent that you hire to go all in for you, like 1,000%. Instead of
do that.
And we do that. Instead of saying, okay, well, I'm 50% of this and she's 50% of this, and we're going to have to figure out how to work together. It's like making like the perfect dinner. You know, you make the perfect dinner. Do you want to have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, or do you want to have that one expert cook that makes the perfect meal that delivers it at the perfect time?
All right, I like that.
Right?
Okay.
It's just one way that you should think about it. Now, at the end of the day, if you really, really, really want to co-list this is something we can talk about. I just think, having done this for a long time and knowing what I'm doing, that it's the wrong way to go.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
But there's a lot of different things that we do that we brought here for you. Everything, like I said, is basically in that book. I brought you a lot of different examples of our marketing, and we do different types of marketing. So this is something we sold around the corner, right, over on Bond Street, and we had fun with it. So the marketing collateral, we made it into this little square that was a little brochure, and then when we opened it up, then it was the larger floor plan.
Okay.
Like, this is something that we could do here because it's such a big space, and when people get this in the mail or they take this from the apartment, they say, oh, this is interesting, this is unlike everything else. We could do a booklet, and this might be something we want to do here. So we show all the beautiful photos, we show all the details, go into who the architect, who the designer was, you know, really, really give the buyers something that they can hold, that is physical, that's thick, they don't want to throw away, and it's not a little piece of paper. I also brought you all of the comparable sales that we can go through, everything that's actively on the market right now that our buyers are going to see once they leave here, what they're going to also compare this to, everything that's in contract and everything that's sold that we can go through. I also brought you a list of all the buyers that we currently have, which is interesting because it's not just buyers that we have from other listings or buyers that we know. It's also buyers that we go out and that we find in a very targeted way that we can go through. And then we've got the exclusive agreement in here. If you want to go through that, it's the standard terms that everybody uses.
Well, I feel like it's a little premature for that.
Okay.
If we could just wait for a little bit longer, we can figure out who's going to be showing this, the right price.
Sure.
See if we get along, because I want someone who's going to die for me, bend over backwards, jump through flaming hoops, do everything. I want you here, and I know you've got a large team.
Yeah.
How do I know that you're going to be showing this? I've got 10 other brokers beating down my door to get this, and they're going to die for me.
I think that, you know, you bring up a really good point that a lot of people bring up. From my point of view, I'd always want to hire a busy person to get a job done, because the fact that we're busy and the fact that we have so many listings and we're doing so much is the reason that we're busy. Unlike a lot of the brokers that you're meeting who work by themselves or might have one junior agent who's working with them, those people might have 1/5 of the business that I have, but they will feel far busier because they're trying to do everything by themselves. And they're going to end up running around like a chicken with their head cut off. Whereas for me, I have an army behind me. So you're going to get me a lot more than I think you want. Right? You'll have me showing this as much as I possibly can. I'm going to be on top of everything. I'm going to be on top of all the negotiations, all the marketing. I'm going to be talking to you about the deals that we're going to bring to the table and going through all the negotiations. But I also never miss a showing on my team. It's incredibly important. And a lot of the other agents that you're probably talking to, I would think, have a really, really hard time being everywhere at the same time. Whereas for me, I'm going to have one other person who works with me, who's on this listing with me, who's better than me, unfortunately, and fortunately, who knows the area, knows this listing better than anybody else, who, if I'm uptown and somebody wants to see this apartment at 4 p.m., we don't say no or, oh, can you come at another time? We say absolutely, right? Because we're all about customer service and all about that client service. The same way I am for you is the same way we are for buyers and other brokers.
All right.
Which is something that I think is incredibly important and something you should really, really think about.
Well, what about million dollar listing? When that comes around,
Sure.
Am I going to see you? Am I going to hear from you?
Yeah.
You know, I know that you do great business. You know, I see your listings, I see your success. But how do I know that when million dollar listing comes around, you're not going to be preoccupied with that, the new baby, everything else? So am I going to get this other agent 90% of the time, or what's the breakdown going to be? I mean, you can say this, but
Sure.
I want to feel it. I want to feel you giving me some sort of confidence that you're my guy.
Yeah.
Because I want that.
I understand. Every listing that I take on is incredibly important to me, and I treat it as if it's my own, and if it's my only listing. And otherwise, I just don't go. I mean, there's a lot of listing pitches that I get that I end up not taking because I am too busy for those. But I'm here right now. And we film $1 Million Listing almost all year round, and I'm here right now. I'm as here for you right now in the flesh as I'm going to be throughout the entire process. But just remember, so I can set expectations, that you're not just hiring me, and I'm not asking you to pay more. The commission that we charge is the same commission that everybody charges, and you're getting my entire team behind you for admin support, for email support, for the process, everything. There's so much more that goes into this than just turning lights on, which is why we have to be as prepared as physically possible.
All right, so that's all well and good.
Yeah.
Just want to be candid with you.
Sure.
My best friend, he's a broker.
Okay.
He's been pitching me nonstop.
As
He wants this listing, and he said he's going to do whatever it takes.
Sure.
Why shouldn't I just go with him? I know him. I trust him.
Sure.
I know he's a great broker.
Yeah.
I know you're a great broker, but what differentiates you from say, my best friend here?
This is a big asset of yours, right?
It's one of my bigger ones.
Yeah. And so the sale process of this home is probably really, really important to you.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. So what I would say to that is, I'm sure your best friend's great. I feel that we do the absolute best work when it comes to selling. And I feel like, kind of like a doctor, right? If you're going into surgery, let's say you broke your shoulder and you want to heal correctly, you want to have the best doctor repair your shoulder. Are you going to use the best shoulder doctor to do that surgery, or are you going to use your best friend because he's been telling you for 10 years, hey, if you ever break your shoulder, make sure I do the surgery because I'm your best friend?
Yeah, well, he's also my best friend, but he's also a damn good doctor.
Sure.
So,
but are you going to put your shoulder in a good doctor's hands or the best doctor's hands for the same price?
For the same price, it makes sense to go with the best.
Yeah. So our commissions are the exact same. And I would also say that I remove anything that's uncomfortable from that situation. You know, I'm happy to talk to him. I'm happy to give him early access. You know, I'd love that. I'd love him to bring a buyer, you know, and say, listen, before anybody else comes in, I'm going to give you 2 weeks early access. I'll give you all the marketing materials early. Maybe we can work out a commission thing where if he brings somebody early, he gets a little bit more, something to make him feel good. But I think, too, you know, I hope that this process of selling this home is as smooth as butter, but it might not be. The market's really, really tough, and there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road that we might have to run into. And I don't want your relationship with your best friend to be ruined over what is really a business transaction, but I'm willing to be the bad guy if I need to be. And I think you need to understand that as well. Like, I'm not just going to call you and give you all the good news, like a best friend might because they're nervous about seeing you on Sunday for the football game. I'm going to give you the bad news too. And when you're trying to sell something for upwards of $20 million or at any price, you need to be prepared to get the bad news as well as the good news. And I'm an unbiased third party that way.
It's good to know.
Okay?
All right.
Yeah.
He will give me a break on the commission.
Okay.
Are you willing to entertain commission, you know, sliding scale? If you do a great job, we'll get the full commission. If you don't,
Sure.
Will you discount your commission for me?
The way I like to look at commission is if I do something wrong while we're selling it, then absolutely I will pay for it, and we'll pay for it out of commission. But our commissions are industry standard. They're all the same. And if I discount it for you now, I promise you, whoever tells you that is going to be discounting their service. They're going to spend a little bit less money on marketing. They're going to know that they had to bend over for you at the beginning, so you're going to make them bend over even further when it comes down to the negotiation. And whether you like it or not, it's going to make them work a little less hard. It's going to make them do a little bit less. And my goal is to get you as much money as possible. And if I could put 10% in there as a commission percentage, I would do my best to get you 10% more. I mean, that's really why you're hiring me. Otherwise, you could just do this by yourself. Right? My job is to get you my fee and then some, and take all the stress of selling off your shoulders so that you are as comfortable and stress-free as possible. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. Well, now that you bring that up, my wife is really good at real estate. She's online every day.
Sure.
She looks at the listings. She sees what, I mean, I'm sure the comps in there are what she knows.
Sure.
Take pictures ourselves. We got an iPhone 10. You saw the resolution. Like, take a couple great shots, snap on a few filters.
Sure.
Boom. There's no real rocket science to this, is there?
I wouldn't say it's rocket science, but it's far more complicated than just having an iPhone 10 and using a filter. Yeah. I mean, we have the best interior photographers who work with us to take the perfect photos, who've been doing this as a profession for decades, so they know the perfect angle. And I'm sure your wife and you with your iPhone 10 can get great photos, and we do that too, and we use that on social media, but what you really, really want is you want to have perfect photos that show this space in the absolute best light, and we take care of that cost as well. So by all means, you can do what you want to do if you want to try to sell it on your own, but I will tell you that the brokerage business is very, very tight-knit, and when I see a seller of a home like this, or any home, put their home on the market without a broker, it's showing to me that the seller is cheap, no offense. It's showing to me that they're trying to not pay an outside broker because they think they can do it better on their own. And then it shows to me that maybe I shouldn't even bring my buyer to that listing because that seller might be difficult. Now, like I said, I'm not your best friend yet, so I'm giving you the good and the bad. I want you to know everything. So even if when I leave here you decide to have your wife list it, I just want you to know the way other brokers are going to look at the listing so that you understand in a couple of weeks when either nobody is called or the only calls you've gotten are from brokers trying to get the listing from you and you haven't sold it yet, that's the reason why. And what I'll say too, I mean, do you and your wife have 24 hours, 7 days a week to be able to show this place, to do the direct mailings, to talk to brokers, to talk to all the buyers that you have from open houses, to run around and put all that work into getting it sold?
The idea is that this sells quickly. Look at this
Sure.
place, Ryan. Have you seen this? Wait, I'll take you on the tour.
Yeah.
I'll show you the hot tub.
I understand.
I'll show you the outdoor spaces on every level.
I got it.
There's nothing like this.
I
When
understand.
someone comes in, they see it, you won't even need to sell it. It's going to sell itself.
100% you can sell it on your own if you want to list it at a really, 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 really low price. And if you want to give it away, then by all means, go for it. I think I probably have a buyer at a give it away price right now, or maybe I'll buy it on my own. But I think if you want to get the most out of this place and not rush it in a day, but take some time, put some real marketing behind it, and get you the best price possible, then you need to hire the best broker because that's what my job is. And you don't pay me a salary. You don't have to pay me by the hour. There's only a commission paid if I'm successful. And if I'm not successful within the next 180 days, because that's what our listing agreements are for, then by all means sell it on your own, or then you can bring in your best friend, or maybe we'll see that something's going on in the market that we didn't anticipate, and we'll take care of it. And you did an amazing job here. And it's part of the reason it's worth so much money. Like, we're talking about something that's worth so much money. And listen, there's also a lot out there that's on the market for sale. Right? There's a lot of inventory out there. Buyers are very, very particular. The same way you think it's worth this, a lot of buyers are going to say it's worth this just because they can. And so it's my job to bridge the gap.
How are you going to bridge that gap?
That's my secret.
Secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
That's what I do. That's why you hire me.
Okay.
All right?
Gives me some stuff to think about here. Can I ask you what your thoughts are on listing this price?
Sure.
Yeah, what are we going to list this at?
I think the right price is somewhere between $16 and $17 million. Based on all the comps, based on what's actively on the market for sale, based on what's actively traded. And if you look, and like you said, you and your wife both know the market, I brought you all the comparables. The average price for a penthouse in the area right now is just under $14 million. So I'm already pushing us up by a hefty percentage point. And the dollar per square foot that is average on the market is $3,300. What's in contract is about $3,600, and what's sold in the last year is about $4,000. But you have to look at those units. Those have all been new construction, new developments that are not really applicable to this space.
So at 16, 17 million, that kind of comps out to an average price. Is this an average apartment?
Nope, but we could go through all of these individually, right? A lot of these listings are in full service buildings with full service amenities, 24-hour doormen. This again is a loft building. There's no amenities here. It's a beautiful penthouse with a great space, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that a lot of these other apartments have. And I also have to think about it in terms of a gross price point. I know there's been a lot of big sales in the area in the last year, but the market has changed a lot in the last year. And there are different buyers at different times. And also there was a lot less inventory on the market when a few of these other trades actually happened. And so that buyer walking around had to then make a choice. And so they paid more. Now today there's more on the active market. Price points are completely scattered. And the market is showing us that we should be around $3,300 a square foot. And I'm telling you that we should be around $3,500 a square foot. So I'm really kind of building in a premium. One, because it's me, and because I know I can get you more. And two, because I think the place is beautiful. You've got all this outdoor space, and that's what we're going to get for it.
All right, so we'll list it in the spring,
Okay.
but 16 is too low.
Okay.
It's not going to work for me.
Okay.
We need to go a little bit more.
So then what I would say is I would split the difference with you and list it at 16 and a half. But I think anything higher than that, we end up being like a lot of your other friends in the area who go to the market too high, they're overpriced, they sit there for a year, 2 years, which I know you said you have the time, but they're not sitting there for a good reason. They're sitting there because they're overpriced, and then it becomes a disease, and then it becomes like this pollution, and then buyers don't even want to come because they don't think the seller's real. The same way if you tried to sell on your own. If you go out there on your own or with just a friend and you're overpriced, all you're showing to the market is you don't care about selling this home, don't even bother showing up. And just keep that in mind. Whereas
All
if you
you
go
need
with
is one
me,
buyer, Ryan. All you need is one.
and every buyer now is smart. They have all the information in their phone, all the comps are in their phone, everything is easily available. We're no longer giving people information, we're helping them understand the information in the market. And that's also why you hire us, because I know everybody and I know everything about the marketplace, so I can help them understand it better so that they'll pay more for your space. So we can go to market in the spring, we can go at 16 and a half. I've got my amazing roster of different tradespeople who are going to help me get everything perfect for all of our marketing like we talked about, and we're going to get this home sold for you.
Okay, well, let me think about that a little bit.
No problem.
I've got this information here.
Yep.
Talk to the boss, see what she says, go from there.
Okay. Thanks for letting me come through. Thanks for dealing with the cameras. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, the cameras are a little strange, but you get them out of here when you leave, right?
Yes, yeah, they're going to come with me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
my pleasure, man.
All right, see ya.